Before we start our podcast, I would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the Indigenous keepers of the traditional and unceded lands upon which the Inspiration Station podcast is produced. The Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Katzie, Coquitlam, and Tawasin nations, whose ancient relationships with their land continue to this day, always was and always will be Indigenous land. Hi! Welcome back to the Inspiration Station podcast, brought to you by the Chang Institute for Entrepreneurship at Simon Fraser University. I am your host, Carson Keller, and this season we are taking you on the journey of unlocking your inner entrepreneur. On this stop of the trip, we meet the Chang Institute's Fall 2023 eCoop team. Are you ready? Here we go! Inspiration Station podcast listeners, passengers aboard the Entrepreneurial Express, welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of our podcast. You might be watching this on YouTube right now and being like, why are there 3 people beside you? Because this has never happened before. We have a full team interview episode today. I don't know how the editing or the sound is going to be, so I apologize in advance if it doesn't sound great, but we're trying our best. Can I please introduce our lovely eCoop team for the fall 2023 semester? This is the money date, you guys. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so excited to have you all here. I typically do a little bit of an introduction and I read a bio for our guest, but since there's 3 of you, that would be a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. So I want, just right off the top, let's just go down the line. Introduce yourself, maybe what you do, and then we'll dive into what the money date is a little bit later on, okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, so starting with Julia.
Hello, I'm Julia. I'm a co-founder of The Money Date. I'm also studying at Simon Fraser University in a joint major. I'm a part of BD, the BD School of Business, and then there's School of Interactive Arts and Technology, so I'm doing a double major there. I'm concentrating on marketing design, and I'm almost graduating soon. 5 classes almost done, and
Wow.
I'm going on exchange very soon to Europe. So the year is pretty exciting, and I feel like it's pretty rewarding at the same time.
That's so exciting!
Yeah, no coding and no math.
Good for you.
Yeah,
we can avoid that at all costs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
6 years of that was enough. Now I'm like just thriving.
Actually, now you're doing math for business.
I guess.
Yeah, we're doing math for the business.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll dive into that in a second. Let's pass it over to Anna.
I'm Anna. I recently graduated from SFU, the same school as Julia, with a degree in interactive arts and technology, and my concentration was in art. Most of my university career, I've been doing internships, so I have a lot of experience in startups. And currently, right now, I'm working as a UX designer.
Welcome. Welcome to the podcast. And last but not least.
Hi, I'm Erin.
This is
Hello,
Erin.
everyone. Hi. I am a product designer with a history of working in fintech, which has really helped with our product, The Money Date. I am in the same program as Anna and Julia, School of Interactive Arts and Technology at SFU. I've been working full-time as a product designer while doing school full-time, so tons of experience building and shipping products for different companies, such as different startups, Van City Credit Union, IBM, All-Purpose. So yeah, I'm just happy to apply all those skills to our business, where I do a lot of like the product strategy and just product design, brand identity stuff. Yeah.
Well, welcome to our team. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys, let's dive into some questions, okay? For our listeners who might not be 100% aware of what the money date is, I know you've gone through a couple shifts recently, a couple pivots. Feel free to just explain what those might be, but I want to know, first and foremost, what is the money date?
So the Money Date is a suite of financial tools that look at the emotional, psychological, and cultural side of money. And they help users to understand those elements in order to make more sustained and long-lasting financial habits. So there's a bunch of research that's coming out right now, and it actually demonstrates that financial knowledge and literacy actually has a weak correlation to maintaining financial habits, when you're not taking into account these psychological factors. So it's the same reason why people make a budget and they know how to make a budget, but they don't know why they keep going over budget. And so our flagship product right now is a budgeting tool that uses AI that's trained on these psychological factors that financial therapists use, and we can get into that, to help people understand their financial psychology and their relationship to money, and then maybe use that alone or blend it with a partner to create sustainable financial habits and create budgets that actually help them to achieve their financial goals faster.
Wow.
So that's what we're working on, and it's interesting because we're uniquely set up to work on this kind of thing, having come from families that manage money together, or families that have had like intergenerational effects from money mismanagement or like this lack of self-awareness around money. And so something that often isn't talked about, but we're here to tackle it.
I hear a really heavy emphasis on psychological patterns in your money management. And it's something that, just watching you guys working on your project throughout the eCoop semester, I've learned a lot about my financial archetypes, which the listeners might not know what a financial archetype is, something we can talk about in a couple of minutes. But there is so much going on within the money date that is conversations that people are very, very nervous about having, because they might be very, very self-conscious and aware of their money habits, might not be like ideally what they envision as like a perfect money management strategy is. But what you're doing is urging people to not just like create that for themselves, but to find a way to actually implement it in a healthy way. Yeah. And I find that's very, very interesting. And I want to know if you can elaborate maybe just a little bit more about that psychological factors of the money management.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the one thing to keep in mind is that with psychological factors in money management is a lot of it stems from experiences that have happened to you. So it's a couple areas. So how you grew up, maybe how your parents managed money. Were they really anxious about money all the time, or were they spending lavishly? And it's not so much what happened to you as it is your interpretation of what happened to you. And so that affects whether you're going to be really spendy or whether you're going to be really anxious about spending any sort of dollar, or maybe you had an event where you experienced a scam or something that was really negative and traumatic, and that affects how you deal with money. Okay. Or perhaps culturally, maybe you grew up in a second generation family that manages money altogether, or there's like a lot of this flow between, you're taking care of your younger brother or siblings or whatever. And like we have some people in our family that do. And that is really important when we're thinking about money management. And so financial psychology takes into account people's like personality traits, their lived experiences, and all of those things will help you to understand the reasons behind your money habits.
That's so fascinating. And I could imagine that, so you just explained that it affects all of us very differently. And we might not be acutely aware of what that might be. These financial habits that we have within us, as Erin was mentioning, are intergenerational, and it comes from the way that we've been raised. And again, you might not know what that is quite yet, but it seems like you're very aware of these habits. Well, of course you are, because you developed this organization. So for our listeners who haven't really necessarily thought about this, because even as myself, these conversations about money don't often happen in my household. For those who are interested in learning more, there's this theory about financial archetypes that can sort of label who you are in terms of how you approach finances. And it's something that I've dabbled in a couple times now, because you've approached me with these cards and these diagnoses, but it looks like a lot of fun. And I want to share with our audience what this is, and this whole process of what a financial archetype is.
I mean, when we're talking about financial psychology, that's a really easy entry point. Like you mentioned that you don't talk about money with your friends or family, but that's super common. Like it's really uncomfortable. People can talk about almost anything else other than money because it's so tied up in our experiences and status and shame and all of these things. And so a really easy entry point to start talking about money is something that financial therapists use, and it's financial archetypes. And it's kind of like Myers-Briggs, but for money. Yeah. And the way that it works is there's 8 financial archetypes, and there's a set of 2 to 4 archetypes that will make up your money personality. Yeah. And so I think Julia and I can talk more about those.
So these are the 8 archetypes. Sorry, Erin, I was like a little bit occupied when you were talking.
Yeah, I was just talking about like what they are, where they came from, and what Julia is showing you right now. So one of the first things that we built was this conversational card game that went into the money archetypes and helped you talk about financial experiences with your friends and loved ones in a way that removed the shame and the stress and the pressure. And at the end of the game, you would diagnose each other's financial archetypes. And so these are some cards, and like this is the branding that we created that represents that. So Julia's just like holding them up right now. And Anna too.
Should we go over each one?
I think that's very important. Like just like a brief like 2-sentence description of what each one is. There's only 8, so it's not like it'll take 5 years.
Yeah, it would be very
but
concise.
they also are like very, very, I find, accurate visually in terms of what each one is about.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
good.
really great to
We worked on
hear.
that.
Because we worked on that, but we wanted to keep it abstract so that
Oh,
it makes
yeah.
sense to each person.
Yeah,
to,
they're
like,
so contemporary.
It's
It's
open
so
for
beautiful.
interpretation.
Yeah, very well. To my own interpretation, like obviously that's what a manager is going to be. You know, like it's not gonna, that's not going to be a manager. You know.
Can you tell
we
us
love
why?
that.
Why you think it's a manager?
Why do I think it's a manager?
Yeah.
Well, it's because this person has all these little tiny things that they're dealing with, and so when you have like it can be whatever concept that you want it to be. This is the person, and these are the things that they manage.
Wow.
Yeah, but so when we're talking about the strive, I think a word that I think of is like, it's like you're destined to do that. So I'm on a straight path, and the straight path, it's centralized down the middle. It's like sort of like the colors here, you know.
We were just thinking like, you're building your empire, so it's.
Oh my god, yeah, even that too. You
But no,
know.
it's awesome
Yeah.
here.
So let's dive into some of these different archetypes, and yeah, tell our listeners what the heck is going on.
Yeah, maybe we can start off with like the very straightforward ones, like the saver.
Oh yeah, saver and
So
provider.
like the saver is someone who obviously saves most of their money.
Yeah.
We could get pretty possessive about their assets. And then the provider, who just someone who usually spends money on their loved ones, friends, maybe like a charity that they're passionate about, but just like helping others.
Yeah.
The dreamers, so that's someone who's very optimistic with their money. They're very trustworthy when it comes to like receiving help from other people, like getting advice and like
Very trusting.
yeah, very trusting.
Yeah.
And then the enthusiast is someone who is open to spending money on things that they enjoy, like experiences, clothes,
Basically,
anything that brings them like joy.
Yeah.
They're like open to doing that.
This one is a pretty straightforward one as well. It's called a manager. So this one, like as Carson is saying, like you have like all these like little mini assets that you could manage. They're very meticulous with how they do manage money. These are like what I gotta protect, and generally they're really good at just managing money.
One thing that's important to mention though is that these archetypes have like good traits that everyone can learn from, and then also things that are difficult. So if you're a manager type, maybe you're good at managing money because you know where it's going, but the stress that it's causing you and the mental burden that it's causing you maybe is something that potentially is not serving you.
Maybe you need to like take some lessons from like the dreamer to be more hands off with their money and to be more optimistic.
Yeah, that's the balancing type.
Yeah.
The last three. So there's the striver over here. They are building towards their empire. Like from day one, they believe that whatever money that they earn, it's towards their legacy. The icon, I feel like you're.
Yeah.
This is Eric.
I'm like icon striver. Yeah, icon striver and dreamer. Ooh. So yeah, icon people are normally people that like to use money for like power or influence, and so it's an idea of like any investment in themselves is like money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these folks will spend money on like the latest tools or the latest iPhone they'll have, or they'll have like 57 pairs of pants like I do by accident.
By accident, sure.
And so, yeah, those folks will spend money on things that give them influence.
And then lastly is the activist. They believe that societal changes need to happen in this world. So their money and effort is towards making that change, systematic changes.
Oh, wow.
And they may feel that money is like evil and maybe they
I
don't
see.
need money.
I see.
Yeah.
So these 8 archetypes, it's a very holistic approach. And as you mentioned, they can be paired up with each other in 2 to 4 even.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Why can I identify with two things that might be completely polar opposite from each other, it seems?
And so different situations will bring out different archetypes. And so, for example, maybe you are looking at investing but you're a saver type, and so that makes you really anxious to take risks that might be good for you because you're so focused on like holding on to that money. On another level, you could like have this saver, but then perhaps you're like Julia, where you have this like little angel devil thing where like you're a enthusiast. And so if there's something that really will give you pleasure or something that will really make you happy from just a self-pleasure situation, and like a little cookie or a treat or Starbucks order.
There you go.
Like you will have these things that you do that will maybe be different. And so for me, my archetypes are like icon, striver, and dreamer. And so that means that I will like spend a lot of money on potentially like things that I think will increase my influence. I will be really focused on building my empire, but I'm also like slightly delulu, like I am paying for subscriptions. It will all work out. Like it's amazing. I'm paying for subscriptions that I'm not using. Like I don't have a really optimistic view of money.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have a group of archetypes you'll find a really balanced person.
Okay.
Where they'll have different things that balance each other out. And it's actually great to have archetypes that are across from one another because all these archetypes have balancing qualities.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll find people that have like 2 archetypes that they're really strongly set in, and it can cause some issues financially. For example, if you're a provider and you're always giving money to your friends to help them out and your family to help them out, and you're an enthusiast, so you want to spend money on travel and experiences and everything, you can see how quickly like these types of folks, if they have too many archetypes, end up chronically in debt or having money anxiety if they don't have like another balancing archetype.
For those who are interested in finding out what their archetypes are, how could they do this?
Well, we have our beta quiz on our Instagram. We released it, I think, a good couple of weeks ago, and it's been out for, I think, like 2 rounds. So we had like 1 round, 2 rounds. You can fill out this Google form that's in our link tree on our bio. Once you fill it out, within a week, we will give you your report, and you can receive that in your inbox. And this beta quiz, we call it beta quiz because we're still in our customer discovery phase right now. And essentially, when you fill it out, you're able to learn about your top financial archetype, and then along the way, as we're like diagnosing you, you may find other archetypes that balance you out, or just like other archetypes that we notice will pop up in the diagnosis.
And it's important to mention that this was created in partnership with a financial therapist. And so all of these things are grounded in like someone who's like a financial therapist and a past like financial advisor as well, and CFO. And so these are grounded by like psychological principles that exist. We're not just like making a quiz and like sending it out. But our purpose with this beta quiz is to gather raw data, because eventually we would like to create a diagnostic quiz using AI that feels conversational, kind of like you're having a financial therapy session, and you'll receive a report at the end with your financial archetypes and also the points in your life that have potentially caused you to develop those archetypes.
Yeah. And this is such a really, really fascinating stage that you guys are in, because you're doing that customer discovery, and we'll talk about that after the break. But when it comes to the diagnosis of this, you're going to be able to reach so many people, and these people are going to be able to have these conversations that they have been so nervous about having. And maybe since you're doing it through an AI platform, they'll be able to talk about it more freely instead of in front of a financial advisor, which might be a little bit daunting to them.
Yeah, 100%.
So with that, I think we should go on to a quick little break. And then after, we'll dive into your journey through eCoop at SFU, and we'll learn a little bit more about what the Money Day actually does. Ready? We clap in 3, 2, 1. That was great. That was so in sync.
We trained.
We're very
Wow.
easy.
Yeah, well, the first one was a practice round, and that was the real one.
Yeah.
Perfect. The practice round was decent. Welcome back, everybody. They didn't have a break because it's literally like 5 seconds between the clips.
Yeah,
but
we did.
We took a good 15er, and we're back. We're back. How are you doing?
We're great.
Are you ready? Are you ready to dive into your journey?
Yeah.
Because at the Charles Chang Institute for Entrepreneurship, there is a little program called eCoop, which is the Entrepreneurship Co-op. And it is a resource for students because business ideas don't just happen after graduation. Business ideas can happen very early on. It can even start like in elementary school students, even younger than that, all the way to high school and in university. So at SFU, we have the eCoop program for students who are working on their venture to actually get paid for it and to receive all of these resources through the Chang Institute, such as mentorship and competency clubs, all this exciting stuff for you to work on your venture. And that is currently what the Money Date is doing. I would love to. I'm excited to learn about your journey through eCoop and how the journey has been so far. But before we do that, I want to learn about how the team has come to be and how the Money Date initially formed.
I'm like,
She put us together.
yeah.
Did she?
So it all started
Matchmaker.
in a very long time ago when I took a design course with Erin, and obviously I really enjoyed doing that course with them. They're like one of my favorite people to work with, and then I discovered the graduation class, and I was like, great, this is the easy way to get my credits in. I'm trying to graduate, I'm trying to get out of here. And then I was like, oh, like my other friend Julia, who I also took a design course with, I loved working with Julia
This is a
too.
different course, by the way.
Yeah.
There's 2 courses.
Yeah, there's a lot of courses.
Yeah.
But I also took a different course with Julia in the summer, and I also had a great time with Julia. So I was like,
Love.
well, why not bring my 2 favorite people together into this graduation project? And that's like,
Favorite people.
yeah, totally.
We're finding that out right now.
Yeah, you're totally.
Was she just saying it for the camera?
But
Well, she knows she actually hates you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like get my bag and leave.
Yeah. No, we spend too much time together
Yeah.
to hate each other.
And then
Exactly.
so I proposed this to both Julia and Erin. I was like, do you want to do this like grad project with us? It'll be like super chill, super cool, make something cool. And we hopped on a call. We thought it would be a great idea. And then in the grad course, I'll just name it 499, IET 499. We knew we wanted to focus in like money psychology, people's behaviors. When the class ended, we came up with the card game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks to Jillian Russell,
Yeah, Jillian
our
Shout out.
mentor,
Yeah.
prof for 499. She is a design prof, and she is incredible. And she
Kind of amazing.
She's
yeah.
kind of amazing. She
Sounds
really
kind of
guided
sounds
us
kind of
a
cool.
lot in helping us
Mhm.
with the first stage, along with Jose Guerrero,
Yeah.
who is a financial therapist, and he runs a financial therapy organization called Currency of the Mind. You should look it up. And he helped us with our foundational concepts during the class.
Very cool.
Yeah, we were going through a big roller coaster during that time in the course. But I think it really was like meant to be though, because with Jillian's like feedback, she eventually referred us to Jose, and then after having this conversation with Jose, that was pretty much life changing for us, right? Like it
Wow.
kind
It's
of
like when
helped
everything
birth
like
us.
snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then before that, we were like going through like slump, just being like,
Yeah.
what are we
Everywhere.
doing? Like,
Yeah. We were just being SEAT students, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
The thing is, though, is these types of phases do happen. There's highs and lows, and they can happen very early on in the entrepreneurial journey. But then you finally decided that, you know what, we're gonna do this, and so look where you are now.
Yeah.
So my question now, because we're a team, we've made the Money Date. We have this idea to make the card game. How did you find out about the eCoop program? How did it land on your guys' lap?
We had this final presentation of our product, and everyone in the room was like, oh my gosh, can I buy this? Like, is this a real product? You guys should make something of it. And up until then, we were very much like product designer, not business folk, thinking like,
Right.
oh, like we're just building something. We're builders. And we weren't thinking about the business potential. But as we were playing the card game, people kept crying or kept messaging us after and being like, this changed how I
Yeah.
perceive everything.
Right.
And we did this big presentation, and everyone came to our booth like in the room because they're like, we want to like buy this or work with it. And so I started looking at different ways. I'm like, okay, how can we maybe make this into a business? Like, what resources do we have through SEAT? And so I did some Googling, and I initially applied for the pre-accelerator class with Doug.
Yep.
And we did that in the summer, and then we applied to eCoop. So
Wow.
yeah, and we got in. Both
It's been a long journey.
Well, look at you. You made it. So, okay, so you've mentioned that you're in the incubator now. eCoop has lots of little bonuses and little benefits that you gain, not just through being part of the incubator, but there's lots of little additional pieces as well. So now I'm kind of curious to know, how has eCoop benefited the money date?
It really has been great, like, honestly, because, you know, like, as we're doing, like, think about, like, a course project as a student. It's like you go from being in a team of 3 to like this whole place of support where it's like, oh, you have like a lack of knowledge in this area. Okay, we have a mentor for you. So it's been super beneficial for us because we've had like weekly mentor meetings with Doug, who's really helped us with customer discovery, and we're currently in the phase of that right now where you know, we want to really dive deep into discovering what kind of problems like our customer segments are facing, and then going forward, like what products would serve them. And so just having Doug's help week by week, having him give us feedback and giving us all these like books and podcasts to watch and read, I think it's been like really, really life-changing, because it's like we're getting more insights that we didn't really know about, right? And then on top of that, we've had conversations with Chris Stairs. He's been really great. He got us to start considering, you know, single transactions to reoccurring revenue. It's just like there's so many terms that we didn't know about before, and
yeah, there's been many people in the network that have been helpful to us, like past people in the incubator, people currently in the incubator, and even just being in the office in Surrey and downtown. You're in this network of people that are building their ventures as well. And so what's so great about that is like you can turn to them and you can ask, have you had this challenge before? Like, tell us about your journey finding like product market fit. Like, when did you do user testing? Like, where did you hire people? And the answers are just there, which really brings into focus the importance of a network and how difficult it can be without that network.
Yeah.
And it really fills in the gaps for the areas that we had a lot of learning to do, and we still do, but the support is there, and everyone's been so supportive, and we're really grateful.
including you.
Oh, thank you.
Including you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
In my little alcove in the office.
Yes.
Your enthusiasm, just you make our mornings so much better.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. It really is such a great like dynamic in the office, because there's such a wealth of knowledge in terms of like the admin side of things, but then the resource side of things is very, very useful to have as well. Even as someone who isn't creating a business or working on a startup right now, for myself, just hearing the stories of like everything that you guys are doing on the daily it's so inspiring, and it makes me want to do it myself as well. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's so fun.
Have you thought about
Yeah.
it?
I've thought about it a couple of times, but like I don't have like a concrete idea to go forward with. Maybe one day.
Yeah, you'll find
Maybe
something.
one day.
It's been
Who knows?
classes.
You have an entrepreneurial spirit.
You do.
There's a lot of that spirit in the office, and we've also been really grateful to like Thomas and Janice and Ben for being so open and connective, and like our mother Mako, and like our auntie Krista, and like you as our mommy person, just like a real family that we've been able to rely on during this journey.
Yeah, we
Thank
got
you.
adopted by you guys.
Yeah, we really did.
Quite literally.
Yes,
Quite literally.
It's like legally binding.
No, it is. And the thing is, well, legally binding is actually a term that can be used, because once you finish your eCoop term, the incubator journey, you're only just starting. You know, the journey of and I know that can be daunting to hear.
Oh my god!
But-
you guys are ready to be successful now.
No, we're like so like, why are we successful yesterday? But it is really encouraging to hear that, because as we connect with other people that have previously done this, like it's like a year or 2 or 3 before they got their traction, and here we're like less than a year in, and we're putting so much pressure on ourselves all the time to like deliver and like become something, and it is so tumultuous. And so the reminder that we have more to play, it also gives me like a sense of peace and a sense of relief, but also the pressure is so there.
Yeah, and that's also what we're here for too.
Yeah.
Like in eCoop, it's important to be reminded of these little things, because you can go into it with all these pressures on yourself and this massive goal that you want to reach now. But you know, it's not necessarily...
It's a striver.
Well, as we've learned, as one of your archetypes...
You're like toxically must cheat.
I feel like this is more than just like a financial archetype for you. This is like your life archetype.
It's
the
so
striver.
I think these archetypes are like, it affects every aspect of our lives.
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah. Well, it comes down from, as we've talked about, it's intergenerational, passing down. It's like a little hand-me-down gift that you get given.
Yeah, a little like...
And the qualities that you just carry with you on your back.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're always learning, like, because you're getting new experiences,
yeah.
meeting new people, so you're kind of evolving.
Yeah, you evolve the archetype.
Yeah,
I feel like, and adopting an archetype, is that a thing? Can you can you develop archetypes?
Honestly, just like being around Erin, to be around a striver, it's been great because it's like Anna and I, that's not our main archetype, but I think to
I feel like
have
I'm
you there, it's like
Like you start to notice these
And Anna's
qualities.
becoming like a shark.
a shark.
It's in there, yeah.
A shark.
Like a little bit of a shark. But I think that's like, you can, these things evolve and change like as you grow. Like as we grow, we evolve and change as people, and all of these things like aren't necessarily set in stone. But one thing that's important and interesting as you learn more about these archetypes, and I have to mention that financial psychology is much more than these archetypes. We're just talking about those as like a nice entry point. But what's really nice is as you gain this awareness, then you can find people that balance you out.
Exactly.
And so like I'll go shopping with Julia and I'll find something like as an icon. I'm like, oh, I look
the
incredible. Like I'm gonna look amazing in this necklace. Like I'm gonna be so powerful.
And
like,
you know what I said?
it's gonna change my life. And Julia's like a saver. She's like, think of how many times will you wear this? Like what is your benefit per
It's
wear?
true.
Like she's doing the math and she's like, okay, it costs this much, and like if we're doing like a division per wear, like would you get it? And I would never ever think of something like that. I'm like, does it look good? Will it give me influence? I'll buy it.
Because it doesn't make sense to buy a necklace and then buy a whole outfit to fit that necklace.
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
will do. Like, I think what's important is like our main goal with the money date, and I'd love for you guys to jump in, but I think we just want people to feel empowered. And I don't like to use that word very often because it's such a buzzword and it kind of is soulless and means nothing. But what empowerment means to us is just like a reduction of shame when we talk about money, and an increase in control, and just being aware of like the guilt and where it comes from, because money is so fraught. It's so difficult for people to work through and talk about, but yet it's present and in everything that we do.
So
and
present.
one thing that we learned from Jose, the financial therapist we've been working with, is that you can look at how someone manages their money or their approach to money, their relationship with money, and then you can understand the rest of their lives. Because money is a construct, like it's really, truly made up. And so what it's filled with is all these things, these cultural, social, emotional, like all of these things that don't actually have to do with like a piece of paper. And because it's so tied up, it can be really hard for people and really damaging and have intergenerational effects. And we want to just help people to become more self-aware so they can take control of their financial futures. Did you want to add anything?
No,
I think that was good.
The way that you like articulated it was really well.
Yeah.
Done.
And we've all in our families experienced this, like to differing degrees.
Yeah, we know people who...
Yeah, everybody experiences this to some degree, whether they know it or not. Okay, team, let's take a short break so we can breathe.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into our final segment of the episode.
Okay,
How's that
cool.
sound?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Good. You're gonna have so many bonus.
I know.
Talking too much.
See you in a sec. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was terrible.
that was-
That was not
That was
good.
our worst one.
Yeah, should we do
Well,
it again?
I think so.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
That was
Ooh,
really
that
good.
was crispy.
Yeah,
That one was
crispy.
really nice.
Yeah,
It just
that one
rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, just
So, folks, we are back for our final segment of Season 2, Episode 3 of the Inspiration Station podcast. We have something very...
Ready for this?
We have something very exciting planned. So as we've been talking about through the episode, you can actually diagnose yourself with financial archetypes. I thought it would be fun if the Money Date team could diagnose me with my financial archetypes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
of course, we'd be happy to.
So for our listeners to see how this process goes, let's dive into it.
Okay.
And through these questions, what they're going to be doing is they analyze the responses in tandem with each other. And ultimately, they come to a conclusion as to what the best financial archetypes are based on how I like to go about my financial processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thought we could just go through the scenario-based questions that we have in our diagnosis tool at the moment.
Yeah.
So we can just dive into it. First question. Okay, so it's the holiday season and you're part of a gift exchange. How do you approach the agreed upon budget, Carson?
So let's just assume the budget is like $20. We have like a $20 limit, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a group gift exchange and I'm going to go to the store, find something cute, I'm not going to be too concerned if I'm like $1 or $2 over the limit, you know? Because if it's something fun that everyone's going to like, I'll splurge. I'll spend like $25. But I also wouldn't be mad if I saved a few dollars as well, you know? So like I'm anywhere in the range, like I'm not too particular about really adhering to that goal, but I'm not gonna like spend $1,000. Like, you know, in The Office when Michael Scott bought an iPod for the gift exchange, I wouldn't do that.
No.
I wouldn't do that, but I would, you know, like I'm a generous person when it comes to that, to gift giving. So there you go.
What would motivate you to like go over budget? Like, what would it have to be?
Okay, so like if, for example, we're having tea right now, and the first example, like if I see a cute teapot that's $25 and the limit's $20, I'll get it, you know, because I know that the group will appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Will it depend on like the person you're gifting it to?
Is this like a Secret Santa type bead?
It's like, yeah, it's a secret sound, so you know who you're.
Okay, so I know who I'm giving it to. If I know they're going to appreciate the teapot, of course I will get them the teapot, you know.
What if it's like $30?
Yeah.
If it's $30?
Why, like, if it's like white elephant.
Ooh,
I feel like we're going too deep.
$30 is kind of pushing it, you know. Like it's a $20 limit because then we're increasing the amount by like a great percentage here.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's white elephant, I don't think the situation would change. Like if I know the group in general would appreciate whatever it is, by all means, I'll go for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're out for dinner with friends, and the waiter comes with a bill. What do you do?
Well, usually, if I'm just with a bunch of different friends, I'll probably just look at everyone and be like, "Oh yeah, we decided that we're gonna split the bill, right?" Like, because I prefer splitting the bill with people. Mm-hmm. But if it's just with like one person or like two other people, maybe I'll cover the check. Depends on like my relationship with the people. But more often than not, I'll split the bill.
And so how would you want the bill to be split?
Like if I ordered a glass of wine and a burger and fries, I'm going to pay for my glass of wine and burger and fries. Okay. Why would I ever order a glass of wine and a burger and fries? I would get like a beer and a burger and fries. Let me re-answer that. If I got a beer and a burger and fries, I'm paying for what I ordered.
Can you tell us why you think like that?
Because why if someone over here ordered a steak dinner, why would I want to contribute like $45 to your steak when I got a $15 meal?
Right.
Exactly.
And so you would want it to be exact based on what you paid, not split like 6 ways for whatever. Like based on what
6
you
ways
ordered.
even. Like if someone suggests that at the table, I'm not going to be like, no, we're not doing that.
How do you feel internally?
Internally, I would be like, oh my god, but like 4 of you got steaks, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, you know.
Okay, cool. All right, so you check your bank statement and realize that you're paying for a subscription that you're no longer using.
Okay.
So, like you get questions like, does this happen to you? Would this happen to you?
No.
Okay, how come?
Because I know what services I have, and I check my statements all the time.
Do you have spreadsheets?
Do I have spreadsheets?
Yeah. It's okay if no.
It depends, like, for what it is, you know? Like, I have a spreadsheet going on right now, budgeting out a trip that I have. I'm going to Europe. Mm-hmm. So I'm budgeting out the entire trip based on, like, where I'm staying and how much I plan on spending where I am, how much my like accommodation is, how much the flight tickets are, like that sort of stuff.
I need to talk to you about my trip. Seriously, I need to learn how to manage my money better when it comes to like trips.
Trips, use an Excel sheet. There are actually like templates online that you can download. That's what I'm using right now.
Next question, your friend asks to borrow money. They already owe you money, but they really need help.
How badly do they need the help?
Maybe you could think about a scenario with your own friend group.
That doesn't happen.
Oh,
really?
Okay, everyone's a slave boss.
You know what I'm going to say? You know what I'll say to that? They already owe me money. It depends how much they owe me and what my relationship with that person is.
Let's
You
say
know.
they're your very close friend and they just need some money covering their bill this month. And maybe they owe you like
$150.
Yeah, and it's urgent, you know.
Or like
because
$250.
They're like close to a deadline.
like my power's
Oh.
gonna that's
No,
a
no,
little
not
extreme. No.
But yeah.
But they're like, I need to pay for my
This is like
internet, my phone bill.
like morally, in like my moral compass is saying, like, obviously you're gonna help. Like, why wouldn't you? But in the back of my mind, I'm telling myself, like, how did you get yourself into this position where you need to ask people for help? You know?
Yeah, that says so much.
Yeah.
Like, so you would give them money.
Or no.
Is there any other
I would
resources
reluctantly give them the money.
So you would,
But would
you
you, or
ask
would you,
questions
or would you
first?
maybe
I don't know.
help
I
them
would-
with budgeting?
Maybe I would have a conversation with them about, like, okay, how can we deal with your finances in a way that this does not happen again?
Yeah.
You know, so that you can be more financially stable going forward, so that you don't run into this type of situation again.
So you would have this conversation, but would you give them money, or just?
I don't
have
know.
that
I really
conversation?
don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if
That's fair.
I know.
But
Yeah.
I think that sense.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to like that question about, like, you have a subscription service that you're not aware of. Like, obviously I'm aware of the services that I have, and if I'm using it, I'll pay for it. If I'm not using it, I'll cancel it.
Yeah.
You know. So, but
Like,
like
how could you get into this?
like how why would you land yourself in that situation?
Yeah.
You know, use a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You've been invited to a special event, but none of your clothes fit the dress code. What do you do?
I will just buy a new outfit.
Yeah, that tells us a lot. Okay.
Can you tell us why?
Yeah.
Well, if there's a dress code, like, example, I just recently went to my friend's engagement party, and there was a theme. We all had to wear, like, earth tones, like greens, like fall colors.
Right.
And I didn't have a shirt that matched the colors, so I just went and I just got, like, a nice little polo for the night. Like, I'm not gonna go and spend like $1,000 on an outfit, but just something that'll help me get closer to satisfying the theme of
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it could be a holding
100%.
outfit or like a polo or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so when shopping,
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some things. So I mostly indulge in things that make me happy.
Okay.
I mostly pick things up for my friends and family that I know they need.
Okay.
I buy products that align with my values, so
Okay.
things with local small businesses to support the community. Or I spend money on things that save me time or make me more productive.
See, the thing is I could answer that question with every single one of these, but when it comes to what I find myself doing most frequently, I would probably say things that align with my values as a person. So things that would make me happy or make me more productive. Yeah, but I'm not, you know, like, if I'm going shopping, I'm just not going to see something and then all of a sudden be like, oh, purchased. I'll be like, okay, I see this. This is how much it costs. Do I have the room in my spending allowances for this month to actually buy it?
Right. We're gonna skip a question or two
No,
because
it's
I feel
okay.
like your archetypes are very strong.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read out a few money statements and let me know which ones you resonate with.
Okay.
Okay. If I help enough, even if it's hard, I'll always be needed and loved. My needs are less important than others. I can't take it with me, so I might as well enjoy it today. The money will always work itself out, so why waste time stressing? And maybe you can just, like, respond right now if
Yeah.
There's more, but
there's more, but you can just, like, give
I
your
can just, like,
initial-
respond to each one. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
the first one, not so much.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's needs are important. My personal needs are very important, and I want to be able to ensure that I can set myself up for financial success in the future. But also, others' needs are equally as important. When it comes to the second one again, what was it?
When it comes to, I can't take it with me, so.
Oh, so I might as well enjoy it now. yeah, if that's what it comes down to, if I'm not going to be able to enjoy something in the future, yeah, I'll invest a little bit into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the money will always work itself out. So why waste time stressing? That's
Literally not you.
No, yeah.
Like, we'll just move on.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that, or just thumbs up?
Yeah.
What Erin said.
Yeah, just like, let's move on.
If I save enough, I will be happy, safe, and secure.
There you go.
Okay. Spending money to enhance my status and appearance will increase my influence and power. It's always a good investment.
There you go.
Yeah.
Most extreme wealth is built on the exploitation of others.
No.
Monitoring my money creates stability and wealth. What gets measured gets managed. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, if you're going to measure and manage your
Yeah.
money properly, then you'll be able to do these things like satisfy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once I achieve all my financial and career goals, I will be happier and more fulfilled.
Yeah. Who knows what the career goals are, but we'll figure that out as we go.
Yeah. I feel like we can, like, diagnose.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Grab
We
it
asked
right
one.
now.
Look at these cards coming all out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we've done it.
Okay.
I'm about to find out.
Okay, so Julia's just given me like 3 cards, and I think we're in agreement, right?
Yeah.
So we have a couple ones here. Which one should we start with? So
The main,
like the
very prominent
manager and the icon. So the manager, this is someone who feels at peace when they are aware of what their money's doing and where it is.
Yes.
They have like a spreadsheet. They'll check things multiple times a day. They're the type of people that like, how could this happen to someone else that you don't know where your money is? Because like, I'm checking it all of the time. And so when you were saying that, it was really evident. Also, you having a whole spreadsheet out for your vacation. Like, for me, I'm like a dreamer. I'm the actual balancing archetype of this. And so it's like very much for me, I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, it's going to be fine. We're going to work it out, and I'll just like do it based on instinct.
So your response to that one question about like the money will always work itself out?
Yeah,
would be
I'm like, yes, 100%. I don't need to look at it all the time. I'm like,
interesting.
it's going to be fine. Like, life is going to be good. I check my bank account like sometimes like weeks on end. I like won't check it. And I just set up everything. And so if you're a dreamer like me,
heart rate
if
just
you're
went.
a manager folks are the people that like will want to manually move their money around. They'll want to manually pay off their bills because they want to know everything that's going on. If you're a dreamer, that method won't work for you.
Nope.
You need to automate things. So I automate everything that I can because I know that I won't
That's you.
check it.
Yeah, like you got it right. You hit the nail right on the head there. Like when it comes to like paying bills, I want to make sure that I'm the one who's pressing pay.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, you don't automate.
No.
None of my finances are actually.
yeah.
I
automated.
love just like
Yeah.
automating.
Yeah,
I
but also dreamer though.
I was like,
And so for
always
manager
get
folks,
dreamer.
like they can teach a lot to dreamer people or to other people about how to create a budget and manage their budget, which is great. But also sometimes they do suffer from this feeling of anxiety that they can release themselves of. Like, oh my God, like every day is my credit card stolen or whatever. Like this like intense fear. And really it is okay. And so like how can we help the managers to like benefit from their good traits, but also release themselves from this anxiety that doesn't necessarily need to exist all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Your next one is the icon. And so icon folks, like I'm also an icon. And so icons are there to create investment in themselves as a way to gain influence. So when an icon would like, okay, I'm going to an event, like I'm going to buy a whole new outfit because I want to look good. I want to like communicate the dress code. Or for a present, when you were like, I want to buy something that will be good for everyone. Like I'm going to buy this thing and it will be like evident for everyone that like I've gotten this like nice thing. So it's about kind of like status and influence, but it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can lead to being really influential. And if this is used for good, then these people can affect real change because they're engaging, they have this influence. But left to its own devices, like spending money on, I think you mentioned like spending money on like your rims on your car because it looked so good.
I have done that.
Yeah. And like spending money on like a lot of like self-care things. So these people need to be checked for that. And then your last one, enthusiast. So these are like the pleasure seeker people, and it was really indicating to us is that you're going on these trips and it's really important. And that's when your manager kind of fell to the background. Like you're not checking your account all the time because you're really living like in the moment.
Yeah.
And you're finding ways to like just focus on the now and spend money on little things that give you pleasure. And so this is a really great archetype for like fun loving and enjoyment of life, like little treats folks. And they're a really good balance out to the saver people that have a hard time spending with like any dollar, because there's ways to treat yourself.
Yes.
These are your 3 main archetypes. There's also some other ones in there, but we'll focus on these for now. Yeah, and so we'll ask you like 2 questions or 3 questions.
Okay.
And that will help us understand these archetypes.
Yeah.
And like maybe where they came from. One question that we can ask you is like, what was your earliest memory having to do with money?
My earliest experience with money. You know what it was? And this is insane. It's not insane, actually. I remember for a long time, there was the Nintendo 3DS. And it came out, and everybody had one. And I really wanted one. There was this period of time where I was saving every penny I could find for, like, I think it was, like, 2 or 3 months. And I needed, like, $200, let's say, this device was. And I was so proud of myself when I finally was like, Mom, let's go to the store. I have enough money. And oh no, it was my dad that we went to the store. I went with my dad to the store. We bought the 3DS, and my mom was coaching a soccer practice when I bought it. And I went and I bet you I probably bombarded the soccer practice to show my mom this DS that I just bought. I was like, Mom, I'm so proud. Look what I got. Like, that was my first that's like my first big experience handling and managing money.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
experience manager.
When you and also icon in a way, like hearing everyone else had this, and I wanted to have it, and the way that you presented it, you like brought it. You're like on your stage. You're like, look at that.
Obviously, look, here we go.
Like, what do you think you took away from that experience?
What did I take away from the experience? Well, if you save your money and you manage it properly, you can reward yourself in the future. Yeah.
Really good one.
Cool. Well, that's it.
That's it. That's all. Bye.
That's it.
You guys are so smart. Before we can close out for the day, I want to thank you guys for being on the Inspiration Station podcast today. I hope to our listeners that you have taken something away from today's episode. I think, in my opinion, we've done a lot of learning today. And I hope that you can sit with the knowledge that we have all gained and improve your financial manners and your financial behaviors. Check out the Money Date, because they're doing some wonderful things about how you can approach your finances. Is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with?
Money's not something that you need to fear. The only thing that you should fear is a lack of self-awareness. That is the scariest thing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if that's what it comes down to, then that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and then we'll give you our Instagram.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Our landing page and links to
yes.
that.
So
in the description below.
Exactly. So as with every episode, our guests will be linked all below. I have all 3 of them. You'll find the Money Dates information down there as well. And as always, the Inspiration Station podcast is available for you to enjoy on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube if you are listening on these streaming services. Might I remind you that you can check out the video recording of us having these conversations. Very insightful, I find, because these beautiful cards are featured in the video, something that you might not get to see if you're just listening to the audio. But other than that, thank you so much for listening. We will see you on the next one. Bye for now.